Brock Lesnar, he claimed was literally
out of him.
to destroy the last remaining element of Daniel Bryan. Now all that exists is this AI, is the dream. The new Daniel Bryan, the Yes Movement is dead. I thought it was very interesting. Like I said, I also dig his look. I think he should just wear sweaters constantly, and drink tea, and still be like this weird, like herbal, holistic woodsman, and just feed into that. His beard can even get Ciampa's beard, so unkempt all the time, like on the sides, it's just all crazy. Right. Like just get a Ciampa beard going. But yeah, I dug it. I like heel Daniel Bryan. I think it'll be really cool. And should mention that, and there's a news story and then a connected news story. So there is AJ Styles may have lost the belt for another reason, not just because Vince didn't want Brock Lesnar beating AJ Styles for a second year in a row as the main event of Survivor Series. Not to say they would have had the same match, but why air that again when you can switch it up, give it to Daniel Bryan, have a different match that people are excited about. There are rumors that he lost the title because he's currently negotiating his new contract. His contract is up very soon, and he's trying to negotiate for a new deal that would involve fewer dates, like basically a more relaxed schedule. So
he could be home with his family more?
Yeah, well, if his feud with Joe taught him anything, it's that he is not a present father, and he needs to be home more. Even if he's not WWE champion, he needs to maybe miss a SmackDown, which he actually did this week.
Yeah.
Side note, apparently him not being at Survivor Series broke a huge record, which was AJ Styles was at consecutively 34 pay-per-views. And that's pay-per-views he was supposed to be booked at. So that doesn't include the Raw-only pay-per-views that were happening for like a year. But yeah, this was like a first pay-per-view in a long time that he had missed. And it was kind of noticeable because he's always there.
Yep.
Then, now we're going to talk a little outside WWE news, which is the fact that, last month there were some rumors around the time of Jericho's wrestling cruise, which we didn't really talk about, which was Chris Jericho set sail to the high seas and had a wrestling show for maybe 5 days at sea. Had like Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and some New Japan and ROH guys, and they did shows and had live podcasts on the boat. And there were reports saying that Chris Jericho, Jim Ross, and Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks were possibly trying to start their own wrestling promotion. That it would be backed by the billionaire family that owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, called the Khan family. So it came out today.
Bortles?
What? Yeah, Bortles.
Like the only reference I could make because of The Good Place?
And Jason from The Good Place will be their actual ring announcer.
That I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in too. Basically, a bunch of trademarks were filed today. That the trademarks were for a group called All Elite Wrestling, LLC, and AEW, which is All Elite Wrestling, shows called All AEW Double or Nothing, AEW All Out, something called Tuesday Night Dynamite, and it's basically looking like they are going to try to form their own company. And this all is happening at the same time that AJ Styles' contract is up. So it's like, is AJ Styles going to stick with the company? And if he doesn't
he would be a big get, obviously. Yeah.
If he doesn't have a relaxed schedule, will he go to Cody's new thing? If this is all true at all. So that's just something for everyone to sort of marinate on and come up with your own theories about. But I thought it was worth mentioning because we were talking about Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles missing that pay-per-view and SmackDown. But yeah, he should be home with his family because there's home invasions happening all the time. Maybe this will also teach him not to have a giant mailbox that says Styles on it.
Yes. But I hope that he gets a promo where he says, "Joe, you were right, and I want to thank you for really teaching me a lesson there."
I've been a horrible father and husband, And it's gotten
And
me
that
nothing
changes
but
now.
hitting the balls over and over again. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Let's see. What would you like to talk about from either Raw or SmackDown?
Just one little tiny thing with the Daniel Bryan thing was just that we'll see that if going forward they'll have to change. They don't have to change his music, but of course they will have to change. They can't have the fingers pointing up video if he's like no more yes movement. Like the video can't actively be encouraging people to do yeses. And when he said, Daniel Bryan is gone or whatever, I was like, oh, I wondered if he would take back like the American Dragon moniker or something.
Yeah,
but no,
yeah.
But he was the new Daniel Bryan, so I'm not quite sure how that'll work.
The new Daniel Bryan.
Right.
NDB.
It was so the other, and so I want to talk about the dark match on SmackDown a lot, but just the show itself. Look, I was at SmackDown, and I was very amused when I saw that there would be a Thanksgiving feast fight that I saw like earlier in the day. And I was like, oh, I'll be there in person for one of the silly holiday shticky matches.
But also, Eric, you've been denied so much like flailing food on the Hulu cut.
Oh yes,
like
true.
This was your time to actually witness firsthand the messiness of a food match or a food brawl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know, Matt, that there were shenanigans and frolicking because when they'd already cut away the Bar and New Day, where they kept throwing food at each other, they were just being silly guys.
Did anyone like try to stand up and then slip on food?
I didn't see it, but I have to believe it happened. Even if I didn't catch it, I'd like to believe it happened.
Like like errant cranberry sauce or mashed potatoes in the ring, and they do like the what? Yeah.
Right. Of course, people, inevitably Big Show went through a table filled with Thanksgiving food, but I was a little sad when they moved the table out of the ring when they started the match. I was like, just leave it there. Just if someone's going through it anyway. Just have it be in the ring, and they have to deal with it, and all the fun can be had.
You got to see God's Greatest Gift, Mandy Rose, in person.
Oh yes, I did.
And what did you think at Survivor Series about Sasha Banks tapping her, like Corey Graves' mortal enemy, taking out Corey Graves' true like obsessive love? That had to be on purpose. I mean, I know the match can only go kind of a certain way,
right.
But that felt very purposeful, and
it did.
And Graves was like he like basically couldn't speak for. He's like, I'm not talking for a while.
Right. I mean, as we keep wondering if they're gonna like really pull the trigger on women's tag team division, which it really feels more and more like they will. Like I noticed, like Asuka and Naomi are now wearing much more like not 100% matching, but they both had like shining like the similar style gear, and so it just seems like they're leading more and more into that. So I was like, maybe Corey can. Well, I guess Heenan did both. He can be a commentator and he can be the manager for the official Sunday Mandy tag team.
He was so good
against the Boston Hug Connection, his mortal enemies. Anything else?
Let's talk about Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
So Dean
jumping to Raw.
It tends to be a recurring thing now. If there is an ongoing storyline on Raw, it involves somebody looking for someone backstage. It's nearly impossible to find anyone backstage, unless Charlie Caruso gives away your position.
Right.
So, and then Dean apparently had this arena scouted way ahead of time, along with the ability to sort of Horace Pinker himself into televisions and electronics wherever he wanted to, because he appeared right behind Charlie Caruso on the television, sort of Max Headroom style. It's like, Charlie, like, how did he tune into that?
But now I wish it was full Horace Pinker and he could go into episodes of NCIS or the Connors and interact with the characters.
Well, let's keep it USA. Like, let's have him at least go into Chrisley or the spinoff Growing Up Chrisley. Or
Suits.
He's like, suits? Who would wear suits? I could barely wear clothing.
Right.
I was watching the Dean Ambrose Chronicle. I don't know what it is, how they label these things. It wasn't a 365, was it? Because they did an AJ Styles 365.
I don't think it was, and I don't think it was a 24.
I don't know how they label all of these network specials that focus on things, but they did a Dean Ambrose one, and he was like, why do you have that camera in my face? What am I going to give you some... You're going to keep asking me the same questions, and you want me to give some clever answers, and I'm not that way. I'm like, oh my God, it's Troy from Reality Bites. Like, it's just... he's such a Troy, Eric. He's so like, oh... Anytime you put the camera on him, he's going to say something so snarky and shitty. I'm like, oh, God, Dean. Get over yourself. Anyway, so he was, not only did they do the thing where Seth was hunting for Dean Ambrose the whole time, but they did the whole switchback of, like, Seth left the arena. But wait, he didn't. Or at least this time they actually kind of made it seem like he was, like, in an Uber and they, like, maybe 5 minutes out. It was, like... paying attention somehow to the shower and like turn around because he did. Sort
he had his luggage and everything.
Yeah, he did run back in. He was like, I'm, and Dean had one of those great reactions again where it's like he's all cocky, and then when Seth runs at him, he's like, like, like very
his eyes pop,
very Three Stooges or very Abbott and Costello, and so I still don't I guess we should also talk about, and it was sort of a minor controversy online for a small while, was Dean's promo. He didn't say it as directly as people think he said it or will claim that he said it, but he was basically like, Roman Reigns is paying for everything we did now because he has cancer, and he has to answer to the man upstairs. The whole promo he gave was very... I want to know Brent Simon's reaction to it, because it was very unforgiving. It was very like, man, Seth, the things we did back when we were in the Shield, it was going to catch up with us. We're all paying for all the... Like, they killed women and children. And like,
no, what are their dark secrets is, the question, besides was it going too far to sort of skirt Roman's cancer, as far as like, he's paying for it now. Yeah, that was... It's
like they killed a hooker or something.
Something terrible happened. Yeah.
I mean, he lives in Vegas, so they could have killed a hooker and buried it in a shallow desert somewhere and vowed never to speak of it. And their vow was them, like, putting their fist together. And that's where the shield fist came from.
Was it a Jennifer's Body thing where they had to sacrifice a virgin? I don't know.
I've never seen Jennifer's Body.
Oh, you should watch Jennifer's Body. The Jennifer's Body renaissance is upon us.
I think that's why I think that's why I'm resistant, because from everything I knew about reality, Jennifer's Body was a terrible movie. Until a decade later now, people are saying it isn't because they want to.
It's not a terrible movie.
Okay.
There's some very fun stuff in Jennifer's Body. If nothing else, watch Adam Brody's very fun performance.
Was that a Diablo Cody script?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, yeah. So I could see it being good. She can write funny lines and stuff like that. Mm-hmm, I get it.
Yes.
Jennifer's Body. Everyone, this podcast is being brought to you by
a 10-year-old movie. Somehow sponsoring.
They quickly brought up on SmackDown a WWE film that's like coming up next week. And I was like, Blood Brothers. I'm like, what? All right. It was just like, it was such like a shitty throwaway plug with like a hologram that popped up on the bottom. It's like, by the way, everyone, Blood Brothers comes out next week. I'm like, what? Didn't even have any stars in it. It didn't, or any wrestlers or anything like that. I was like, okay, that's weird. But I want to read a couple emails, and then we could probably wrap this up. Think about other things you might want to talk about before we sign off here.
I have another thing.
Okay.
Read the emails first.
But as far as the emails, everyone, thank you also for writing in and for listening and for putting up with my voice this week, which sounds like Kathleen Turner gargled thumbtacks, which is terrible. Next week, I promise to sound like Nick Nolte French kissing Tom Waits. Let's see. So Jamie from Madison, Wisconsin writes in. Jamie, thank you so much for telling us the city and state. This is just talking about TakeOver. Hello, WEW. After watching another incredible NXT TakeOver and seeing mostly throwaway Survivor Series, do you guys think that the main roster will be better once Vince steps down? It really seems to be getting more and more rare to have really exciting moments on the main roster because great talent is being pushed aside for people like Bobby Lashley, Jamie from Madison, Wisconsin, not a Bobby Lashley fan. P.S. I love the podcast. I think we talked